I'd like to begin by crediting InjuryLeague.com for helping me form a part of my following data. Hopefully through my videos I can present my data in a presentable fashion. This project is looking at football injuries suffered in the English Premier League over the last 5 years. This video will be looking at the face of the data by comparing the weeks spent injured from the injuries they've taken against the total injuries suffered per year by the 20 English football teams in the Premier League, and whether we can make a correlation between the two factors. Just to note, a football season begins in August and finishes in May, and my data collected is between 2010 until 2015, so each football season is labelled as 2010 to 2011, 2011 to 2012, and so on. Google Fusion Tables didn't recognise my yearly values, so this is the best I could get it to appear as. The first visualization I'd like to begin with is the total weeks spent injured by the total injuries suffered by each team per season. The blue bar represents the weeks of the calendar year players would miss, while the red bar represents the total injuries. Between 2010 until 2014, we see an increase in the weeks and injuries that the football clubs have suffered, with the football 2013-14 becoming the peak year of weeks spent injured and total injuries suffered. We see a slight dip in the total weeks for 2012 and 2013. However, total injuries were still increasing. The current football season, being 2014-2015, is still ongoing, so this data is between August until February, which is the time that I collected this data. But as you can see, the current season is close to emulating the first year of data. However, in my opinion, I don't think it will reach the peak data, as the current year has seen a decrease in long-term football injuries, which I'll go into more detail in the next video. I'd like to view the specific data within each year, which looks at each football team, with this visualization sorting out the injuries against the weeks. We see Tottenham have suffered the most injuries of 82, as well as the most weeks of 234, whilst the bottom ranked team, Bolton, have only suffered 21 injuries. However, Bolton have suffered 143 weeks injured, so when we look at the data that sorts the weeks against injuries, we'll see Bolton are ranked somewhere in the middle. This theme is carried over the next 4 years of data that I've collected, and the analysis that I can take is that the teams that suffered a lot of weeks injured suffered more longer term injuries, between 2 to 9 months out of action. These injuries would involve various knee injuries such as ACL, LCL and MCL knee injuries, which are long-term recovery, hamstring injuries which can take weeks to months depending on the muscle tear grade, and possible metatarsal fracture, which is in the ankle, resulting up to 20 weeks of recovery. I'll briefly finish off by mentioning my case study, which saw Arsenal finish in the top 3 for injuries as well as weeks for the last 5 years. So when we look at through each data, we'll see Arsenal are there or thereabouts for weeks, this is the injury bar chart. So when we look at the weeks bar chart, you'll see they're second. Here we'll see Arsenal here second again. Third for weeks spent injured, first here, and first again for weeks and injured, and Arsenal mentioned again here as well, around the top 2. Between 2002 and 2013 they amassed nearly 1,000 injuries with no real explanation as to why. We saw their name appear in the top 3 or thereabouts, but I'll finish off here. I'll look into the more specific injuries in more detail in the next video.